The Gospel lesson for the fifth Sunday of Easter is John chapter 14, verses 1 through 14. I've lost count of the number of times I have read or heard Bible verses and been amazed that words written nearly 2,000 years ago are still so pertinent to our lives today. The context of John 14 is Jesus giving his farewell address to his disciples shortly after the Last Supper. He had told them that one of them would betray him. He told them that Peter, the stalwart leader among the disciples, would deny him 3 times, and he told them that he was going to leave them to go somewhere that they could not follow. Their lives were turned upside down on this night. Everything they had known was going in troubling directions, and they had no control over any of it. Their world was being reduced to rubble. They were confused, they were afraid, and they were overwhelmed. And so Jesus tried to ease their anxiety. He told them in verse 1, "Do not let your hearts be troubled. Believe in God. Believe also in me." Jesus calls them back to this fundamental relationship of trust and assures them that he is not abandoning them. Rather, he is returning to the Father, which is good news for them. Jesus assures his disciples that this is also their destination. There are many dwellings in his Father's house, and he goes to prepare a place for them so that they will be with him and dwell with him and the Father. Now, the disciples have many ways that they could respond. When we think about them, we often forget that at their very basic existence, they are human. They're just like us. We usually think of the great works they have done and think of them as being these great biblical figures. We recall the miracles they performed in Jesus' name. Peter walked on water. Philip cast out demons and healed the sick. Paul healed the sick and cast out demons among many others. But they were in fact human. And so they questioned. Thomas asked Jesus for directions for where he was going. He wants to be sure he can't follow. Philip asked Jesus to show God to them so he can be reassured. With all of the works Jesus has done that they saw, they still have doubts and they still have fear. And that's just like us today. Our world right now is in turmoil. We have had fires ravaging countries and states. We have a massive divide in our country politically. We have the shelter-in-place and social distancing orders in the midst of a global pandemic. We can't even worship together. And so much information and misinformation that people are unable to trust or believe in half of what they hear or read. We are afraid. We are confused. And we are overwhelmed. And quite honestly, many of us feel abandoned by Jesus as well. And just like the disciples did, we question. Why is God letting this happen? Why doesn't Jesus return and heal all those who are sick with COVID-19? Why doesn't somebody do something? Has God forsaken us? At times like these, when we are confused and troubled and overwhelmed, that's precisely the time for Jesus' words to bring us back home. Do not let your hearts be troubled. Believe in God, believe also in me, for I am the way and the truth and the life. We are reminded that Jesus has gone on before us to his Father's house, which has many rooms, and he is there preparing a place for us. It is not our time to join him today, but when the time comes, we will know the way to go to him. We can have faith in knowing that God holds our future and that no matter what lies before us, he is already there.